Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is PsychoGold, this is PsychoGold Videos, and today we are going to be checking out the latest episode of Vinland Saga, which aired recently. It is, for some reason, it didn't air the previous week. I'm not entirely sure what the reason was. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked. But yeah, we're going to check out the latest episode right now. I'm excited to check out this episode. I have been thoroughly enjoying Vinland Saga. I actually watched a very good video essay earlier from someone about how people should not be sleeping on Vinland Saga, and I completely agree with it. I know a lot of people keep telling me I should be watching Dr. Stone, but then in the same breath they also tell me I should be watching Demon Slayer, and the truth of the matter is there aren't enough hours in the day for all the things I should be watching, so I'm just going to stick to what I am watching, and if at a later date I feel like revisiting certain shows, like I am pretty confident I'm going to do that with Demon Slayer for example, then I will. But for now I'm just going to stick with these two, so without further ado, let's dive into the episode. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh. Okay, so we're still here at the bridge. Well, the fortress. Wait, was the name of the episode Ragnarok? That's interesting. He's chucking rocks at him. Trying to provoke him, like, come on! I don't know why, but I feel like if he was dubbed in English, I know they're all Vikings, but I feel like he should be Scottish. I don't know why, I could just see that working so well. I was gonna say, if you wait, I think most of your soldiers are gonna end up being crushed. Oh, so he really is afraid of going out. Okay. I thought there was going to be some tactical sense that Ragnar had come up with, but apparently not. So who's this guy? Is he another Viking or is he English? Because that's the problem when they all talk in Japanese. You can't tell. Oh, that seemed to get a reaction out of him. Why is that bothering him? Okay. Is he got a score to settle with that prince or something? So if I was to make an educated guess based on the opening alone, I'd say that Thorkel is going to think that the prince is so useless that he no longer needs to just sit there and defend, and that he can actually go on the offensive and take the Englishmen and attack the camp of the Vikings, because he knows full well that they're never going to attack him as long as the commanding officer is the cowardly prince. Yes, my boy, you're in Vinland Saga. No, not in Vinland. You are in Vinland Saga, but that's not what I meant. I meant you're in the Vinland. Well, this is obviously a dream he's having. But it's interesting that he thinks of his home in that way and not the snow-covered death trap that it actually was. Oh, he's still trying to get that message through to him about not living this life and go and do, you know, what? Just be you. Go and live your life. Don't try and do what you think is what... Oh, shit. Let's not break everything. Oh, yeah. There we go. It's like reality just kicked in and invaded his door. Yes, I'm aware that sentence made no sense. I'm not quite awake yet. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you record a video, like, at 8 o'clock in the morning. Ah, there's a familiar sight. PTSD. Not gonna lie, it looks like Wales to me, but outskirts of Bath. Oh, okay. And it's 10:13, right? I'm sure it was 10:12 the other day, so I don't know if that means a year has passed since the last episode, or if 10:13 actually started in the last episode. I think it might have done. I love the fact that they're doing all of this and they're just surrounded by dead bodies, pools of blood, gory corpses, etc. And the camera framing that it keeps showing them just out of shot or out of focus. I like that. Oh well, one of them's gonna die. I don't really care. Love it. Oh yeah, England's very different from Iceland. Especially back then. We hadn't built endless bloody houses everywhere in sight. Just houses. There's no infrastructure whatsoever to speak of. Don't move here thinking that it's a great place to move to. All we have is houses. Nothing else. Heaven help you if you need a doctor, surgery, or a school to send your kid to. Yeah. I mean, I know why Askeladd's doing it, but I don't think Thorfinn's ever going to be in that sort of mindset. I love how honest he is. It is inevitable. I agree. You've got to get there before he gets old if you want to have an honorable fight. Ah, so that's why he was up there. He knows a lot about this, which is interesting considering his name is very much Roman. Damn, man, he always has a way of just capturing you, doesn't he? Nah, I wouldn't worry about that. The last even our Great Judgment Day of 2012 didn't do anything. The Mayan calendar let us down, man. But yeah, I love how, like, melancholy and tragic feeling he's talking about the Romans. If there was any doubt that he was very much connected to the Roman Empire, it's not there anymore. Oh, okay. I thought they were about to be attacked then. I was like, because that would be the perfect time to ambush one. Wait, Thorkel did defeat them? I was right, he attacked! This is the flashback, I'm assuming. Yeah, he is a mountain, to say the least. And seeing that sort of raw strength on your side has a way of reinvigorating yourself. Yeah. Because as daft as it sounds, they had the mental advantage. I don't think they'd be able to beat the main army, though. Depending on, you know, what state they're in. But I would assume that they're in a pretty good state. How else have they not realised what's going on outside? Yeah, he's definitely close. It's not the sort of thing that they would normally do, I suppose, but if Askeladd says yes, they'll do it. Whoa, what the? I'm confused. Does he not want it to be known that he was spoken to? What? Oh, so he wants to do it single-handedly. So, make both sides basically auction for the prince. Yeah, that'll get them going. They wanted a better challenge, they've got it now. I had a funny feeling that was his plan. His attitude is, this is all over anyway. There's nothing else for us, so why go out any other way? And with the pillars of the Roman Empire, or what's left of it in the background. Yeah. Quite a decent metaphor there, isn't there? Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Vinland Saga's latest episode, and yeah. Just as good as all the other episodes. I really enjoyed the dream sequence that Thorfinn had. I thought that was really nice, seeing that he actually is having issues dealing with everything that's happened to him, and he isn't just embracing the murder-death streak that he's on, because it did feel like he was just kind of going with the flow with no real negative ramifications mentally at times. Yeah, we've seen hints that maybe he's not, you know, all happy to just have been turned into this tiny little murder machine, but we've not really had to see him deal with it. So the fact that he seems to be internalizing most of it and having nightmares that are, well, they're actually not nightmares, but you know what I mean. They cause him to have nightmares because they start off really nice and simpler times when he's a kid, and then reality invades and turns every dream he has into a nightmare. That's actually a real thing. And I've seen other shows, like going back decades, do that sort of thing. I immediately recognized it, ironically, of all shows, is from MASH when they were dealing with the Korean War. They had a character on there that literally was going through the same problem. In the real world, for want of a better way of putting it, he seemed fine, but then when he went to sleep, he would wake up screaming, and yeah, he couldn't figure out what was going on, and the psychologist literally said that it's your brain trying to cope with the horrors that you have to see in this war, which is exactly what Thorfinn's trying to do, and it's trying to escape back to a time when you didn't have to deal with all of this, but it can't do that. At some point, everything that you're trying to not deal with is gonna come in, and especially when you're in a subconscious state, your brain is trying to deal with all of that, and it can't balance out the two sides between happy times and everything is not okay. It just can't do it. There's too much of a, a drastic drop in the scale, because you've gone from being, in Thorfinn's case, a happy kid that really didn't have any worries, let's be entirely honest. He seemed to have a pretty good life over in Iceland, and now he spent the last few years slitting people's throats, bathing in their blood, and having to live with people that he can't stand, trying to earn the respect of the guy that he actually wants to kill, who killed his father. So yeah, I can see why that might take a toll on someone who's also as young as Thorfinn is, Which I thought paired quite nicely with what Askeladd was not going through, but I suppose he was going through stuff, but the way he was trying to tell Thorfinn about the Roman Empire and how proud he still sounds of it, even though it's, an ancient memory at this point. But Askeladd is definitely got a connection to them, even though obviously he's not like a former soldier or anything, because like he said, Roman Empire has been gone for many, many years. But obviously his family must have been connected to them, and yeah, descendants of the Romans, or specifically should I say the descendants of the Roman Empire, probably are very much taught from a young age what they used to have and how good it used to be, and they're all probably kind of like Askeladd, which is half pining for something that they've never actually had, but at the same time just getting on with the reality of the way things are now. But I think it was a very poignant way of demonstrating what Askeladd was going to later talk about, with the Roman Empire did just kind of crumble and collapse and fade away into history, and now he talks about it to a young kid and he has no clue what he's talking about, and he doesn't want that for himself or for his crew. He wants to be remembered, and he wants to be burned into the history books, and rescuing, the second prince of Denmark and potentially getting ridiculous riches from either England or Denmark for giving him to the either party. Yeah, that's a pretty good way of doing it. Or if they fail, they will die in glorious battle, and for the Vikings' point of view, it will secure a place in Valhalla. And it's just one of those things where, from Askeladd's point of view, there is no loss. He's either going to take his men and die trying, which will turn them into legends for trying to take on, the big powerful Thorkel, or he's going to win and there'll be legends for winning and saving the prince, and then they'll get ridiculously rich. And as he said, he is getting older. Now, I don't think he's actually in any danger of becoming weak anytime soon, but it's obviously a thought that's on his mind for him to openly say such a thing to Thorfinn. And that's also a sort of a challenge to Thorfinn, is that you need to do something good soon in order to get another duel with me, because if it takes you too long, you'll still get your duel, but when you win, it won't be because you're the better fighter, you won't have honorably avenged your dad's death, you'll win because I'm old and weak, and anyone could beat me. That was another little mental jab. Askeladd loves to do that. He loves to push Thorfinn, using negative reinforcement, don't get me wrong, but he does push Thorfinn to always live on the edge, to always just try and scrape that little bit more than he could before. I mean, let's face it, the fact that Thorfinn has been so successful is the reason why he probably thought he could defeat Thorkel, and I'm still convinced that is Askeladd's plan, that he thinks Thorfinn can beat Thorkel, and that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if he can, because I do think that the tiny guy with 2 daggers is the best way to beat him, and obviously he already proved that he can at least stand up to him, even if he did get, you know, beaten, but he managed to cut off some of Thorkel's fingers, and I think now that he's already fought him once, Thorfinn might be able to go back and actually finish what he started. You have to use his speed and agility to his advantage and not try to match his strength or savagery, because in that regards Thorkel is, you know, you're not going to beat him. Even someone fully grown and twice Thorfinn's size is still tiny compared to Thorkel, and you know, the ridiculous feats of strength he's done in this show, yeah, no one's going to match him in that regard. So definitely the way to go about it is to go for the same exposed weak points that everybody has. Doesn't matter how strong you are or how durable you are, everyone has the same points that can be exploited. The actual scene as well of Thorkel coming in and basically defeating the 4,000 men that he was being opposed by, I thought was pretty cool. It was done really well in terms of animation, and it just really hit home just how terrifying Thorkel is, and with him leading the way, even the men that typically don't stand a chance against the Vikings suddenly get reminded of how savage and powerful they are in their own right. And like the messenger said, it was like being attacked with bears rather than men. And you know, the inspiration and the mental fortitude and strength that they were able to get back by having Thorkel as their leader just empowered them. And of course, it psyched out their enemies, and at the end of the day, it is a mental game as much as it is a physical game, combat, whether it be something like an MMA match or a full contact match or boxing, or especially old school warfare with swords and shields, because you've got to get up close and personal to your opponent and defeat him. You can be the most physically fit person on the planet, but if you're not mentally able to keep yourself focused and relatively calm, in inverted commas, in the midst of the chaos and confusion that's happening, you're gonna wind up dead before you even realize what it is that's attacking you. And that's been proven throughout history time and time again, and it's the reason why, especially today, people get trained through so many drills. If you want to be like special forces, for example, there's, you know, the amount of mental training that you have to go through, never mind the physical training. We've learnt those lessons over a very long time. And back then, although there were probably people that got it, it wasn't like there was a training program. It was just a case of, you're young, you'll do, here's an axe, let's go. And yeah, they probably wouldn't have got the effects of mental fortitude, especially when you consider that even in this day and age, the idea that mental health is something that you've got to look after and take care of as well as your physical health. There are still people today that don't think that's a real thing. So yeah, several hundred years ago, probably not got much chance of getting that one through. But then again, all of these Vikings seem to have perfectly white teeth, and I have no idea how they pull that trick off when there's literally no dental hygiene. But hey, whatever, I'm sure that'll be explained at some point. But that little mid-rant aside, that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new around here, drop comments down below, let me know what you thought about it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one, which will hopefully only be in a few days at this point, so I'll probably see you for the next Vinland Saga real soon. Either way, my name is Psycho Gold, and I will see you in my next video. This is Psycho Gold, signing out.